Today on r/IDontWorkHereLady. Not even in heck. So I'm 61 years old, retired, and I live alone. By virtue of being 61 and retired, the garden where I used to grow my plants has been paved over. So one summer's day, I'm at my local mall looking for a coffee pot. I broke my old one. Now, I am wearing a spotty folk festival t-shirt, camo shorts, and unclothed feet in Birkenstocks. Very managerial. LOL. So, I'm in some shop or another looking at the coffee pots. I hear raised voices a couple of aisles over. A woman's voice screaming words like lazy and you rude brat, etc. A quiet male voice was trying to be heard and failing dismally. So, I go to the aisle. As I round the corner, I see a young guy in his mid-teens, very well appointed in his summer clothes, with an anorexic gorgon screaming into his face. Then she upped with her hand and slapped the kid in the face. As he stood there in shock, manfully not crying, she sees me and comes charging over, grabs me by the arm and drags me to the kid, yelling something about fired and lazy, you were his manager, and other nonsense I didn't pay attention to. In the midst of the tirade, I turned to young guy, winked and mouthed play along. You see, I've been listening to these things for a while, and I've got a response ready. Oh, please let her give me a cue. And she does. She goes on and on about shop workers lying about not working there because they're lazy, etc. Jackpot. So I say, ma'am, do shop workers often lie to you to avoid serving you? Her. All the time. Kids are so lazy today. That was the gist of it, but there was more screaming and spit. Ma'am, I don't think that's laziness. I think it's because you're such an arrogant, ignorant B-word. The devil himself wouldn't have you in heck. When you put your 2 feet to the floor in the morning, the devil says, "Oh God, she's up." She looks like she's the one who got slapped. For the minute, she says nothing. I turn to the kid, smile and say, and now we enjoyed the show. She starts buzzing around the lights. There's screaming, spit flying, things getting thrown off shelves, the whole 9 yards. Me and the kid had to dodge a few flying objects. I just kept encouraging the kid, and Diet Medusa's tantrum, by making comments like, oh, good one. And Mrs. isn't much of a pitcher, is she? Did I mention that my effing garden has been paved over? By this time, a manager and a couple of security guards have arrived, and she has worked herself into a total lather. Well, okay, I helped, but she did most of the work herself. There is nothing sensible coming out of her at this point, just screeches and spit. I tell them what I saw, and the kid confirmed it and fills in the rest. How she had thought he worked there, wouldn't believe that he didn't, and had slapped him. Off we went to see the security footage. So the cops were called, she was fitted for steel bracelets, and I encouraged the kid to call his parents. They decided to press charges. I found out later that she was sent for a psych evaluation and ended up in a psychiatric hospital for a couple of months. And I got to feel all supportive of a younger brother. We guys gotta have each other's backs. For our next story. Entitled Karen vs. Ex-Navy Aviation Pilot. Mom and I were sharing I Don't Work Here Lady stories, and she shared how she met my stepdad. I knew they met at an airport, but I didn't get the full details until now. Several years ago, Mom was a brand new flight attendant, her dream job. She was heading to her gate, excited for her first ever flight as an attendant, when she gets stopped by our villain, Karen. The conversation went roughly as follows. Karen, excuse me. Mom, how may I help you? Karen, I need you to upgrade us to first class. Mom, I'm sorry, but you'll need to talk to the gate agent. I'm a flight attendant. Mom could understand Karen's confusion because gate agents and flight attendants wear the same uniform. However, they're completely different departments. A gate agent can't do what a flight attendant can do, and vice versa. Karen, I don't care. You're going to upgrade me to first class. Poking Mom in the chest. Right? Effing now. Enter our hero. Stepdad, who just so happened to be the captain of Mom's flight, was getting some coffee at a nearby shop, and he overhears Karen's entitled rant. He comes up. Stepdad, what seems to be the problem, ma'am? Karen, finally. I'm Karen and I need to be put on first class on flight 123. Stepdad, that's my flight. I'll speak to the gate agent after you apologize to my flight attendant for your entitled behavior, or I'll have you kicked off my flight. Now most people would agree to do this. But as you can probably guess, Karen isn't one of them. Instead, Karen then does the stupidest thing you can imagine. She tries to punch Stepdad in the face. What Karen and Mom didn't know is that Stepdad is a Navy veteran who used to train fighter pilots and is in good shape. The next thing Mom knows, Stepdad has twisted Karen around, had her arms pinned behind her back, and calling for security. The flight ends up being late because Mom and Stepdad were giving statements and agreeing to press charges. Karen ended up getting pressed with assault charges and getting banned from the airline. That evening, once everyone finishes up, Stepdad comes up to Mom. Again, the conversation went like this. Stepdad, hey, I wanted to apologize for that. I heard you're brand new and I hope that hadn't scared you off from your job. Mom, nah, I have 2 kids. It takes more than that to scare me. Stepdad, still, I want to make it up to you. Are you free this evening? I know a really great restaurant in town. Mom, I'd love to. A few years later they got married. Let's dive into our next story. How I Don't Work Here Lady almost turned scary for an off-duty police officer. This story came from my friend's husband, Adam. And yes, this is Belle's husband. Belle's my retired Army officer friend. Adam worked as a police officer from the late 1990s to early 2010s until being injured in the line of duty. One December evening, Adam was finishing up his shift when Belle, who he was dating at the time, called him, asking if he could pick up a couple of last-minute things for a Christmas party. Since the Mart of Walls is about a mile away from the station, Adam decides to go there. He's wearing a thick dark blue coat over his uniform, complete with vest, belt, and gear, including his sidearm, radio, handcuffs, and baton. He's in the dairy section, getting some cream when he heard a woman say in a low voice, "Excuse me?" Adam turns to look. There's a young woman, maybe college age, dressed in jeans, a thick coat, and heavily pregnant. Definitely not the Karen type. "Can you please help me get a TV from the back?" Adam is about to use the classic "I don't work here lady" line when he sees the fear in her eyes. Now, on high alert, he leans close to her and whispers what happened. "I'm scared of my husband. He just shot the officer who pulled us over." Adam looks up and sees this strung-out looking man who looks like he hasn't showered in days and watching them with, as Adam recounted, shark eyes. Thinking fast, Adam says loud enough for the man to hear. "I'm more than happy to help you, ma'am. Let me page the back and we'll get it in a minute. Hang tight." Using his cell phone, which wasn't as common as it is now, he texted a fellow officer who was still on duty, asking her if an officer got shot. When she confirmed it and asked what was going on, he told her what was going on, to alert the manager and to send a couple of units to the store. She responded to him that the units were on the way, the manager had been alerted, and to hang tight. Once he received her text, he said it's on its way to the front. "I'll personally escort you there so the manager knows who it belongs to." So he leads the family to the front and makes eye contact with the manager. The manager, who recognizes Adam from previous excursions, comes over. Adam, keeping up the charade, says to the manager boss, "I think it'd be good to get the lady off her feet for a little bit while we get the car loaded," he said with a meaningful look. "It's going to take several minutes anyway." The manager nods and says, "Of course, come with me, ma'am. My office is just this way." Once the lady and the manager were safely away, Adam and the man head out to the parking lot. Just then, Adam spots the officers getting out of their cars and nods at them. The takedown wasn't as dramatic as you'd expect it to be. They recognized him and arrested him as soon as several outstanding warrants for his arrest were revealed. The officer the man had attacked survived his injuries, and the man got a nice long prison sentence for several charges, including attempted murder. The lady filed for divorce and, with Adam and Belle's help, was able to get home to her family. Last Adam heard, she was doing well. When she heard the story, Belle, as she put it to me, knew I met the man I was going to marry someday. On to the next story. Karen wanted me to wear an eye patch. I posted this in r/entitled people and thought I'd post here considering it's a volunteer job. For context, I am in a couple of medieval festivals as an actor. Think of those street characters from the Disney parks, except it only happens annually. I play 2 completely different characters in these festivals. My more known character is known for 2 things. Her obsession with spoons. The utensil. Her eye patch. This is to help kids doing these scavenger hunts to find me. I am wandering around the second festival as my lesser-known character, a cowardly wizard who accidentally took over a couple feet of land who owns a baby dragon. I am interacting with various patrons as this character when this woman approaches me. Let's call her Karen. "Where is your eye patch?" Karen screamed. I looked at her confused. "I'm sorry," I stated. "I have no idea what you are talking about. I have no need for an eye patch." "Don't act stupid," Karen shouted. "You have an eye patch, I know you have one." I raised my eyebrow. "I don't know what you mean," I stated. Karen began screaming in a language that could summon demons before shoving the scavenger hunt from back when the first festival took place, early June. It seemed she thought I was that character in a different costume. My character for Festival wears green and brown with the eye patch. My character for Festival B wears red, white, and gold. They wear glasses, no eye patch. I sighed and shook my head. "I'm not character name from Festival A," I stated. "My name is character name from Festival B. I'm sorry." Cue the demon summoning screams. I just shook my head and walked away. Our last story for today. Wild Karen in the pharmacy. I've been asked to post this here. Forgive the formatting as I'm on mobile. Some relevant information. I'm 6'5" and 250 pounds. I don't have the temperament for retail. I work alone as a delivery driver taking pharmaceuticals from a central warehouse to several stores. All for the same blue CAD company. I'm easily bothered by the way customers treat pharmacy techs. Seriously guys, it's not their fault your insurance didn't go through. Yelling won't change that. I've become fairly close with a lot of these techs as they have to see me daily. Now, to the incident. I walked into the store dragging my cart full of boxes. I'm wearing shorts and a t-shirt. As I come up to the counter, there is this woman screaming at the tech. This tech was under 20 years old and was backing up as far as she could. The pharmacist was giving a shot and couldn't leave for a minute. I was almost giddy at this, as I'd planned for weeks what I would do if the situation ever came up in front of me. I walked up to this pleasantly plump woman with her bleached blonde soccer mom hair, cut and oversized pink glasses. "Excuse me, ma'am," what she yelled, spinning on her heel and looking me dead in the, I wish I could say well-defined, but why lie, chest. Then she slowly looked up at my not at all handsome or smiling face. "Do you really want to be yelling at someone who can replace your insulin with sugar water? Excuse me?" She said, not quite as mean as before. I think what I said was sinking in. "Think about it, ma'am, this lady could, though I don't think she would, replace one of your pills with potassium cyanide, and no one could ever trace it." She stormed off. The tech thanked me and I made my delivery. Just as I was getting the last signature, the customer came storming back. She, of course, was dragging the store manager. "That's him. I demand that you fire him." "I can't. He doesn't really work here." I spent the rest of the week waiting for my boss to fire me. The next day, that pharmacy gave me a plate of homemade brownies. I spent the last 6 years waiting for a chance to use that line again, but so far, no luck. And those are all the stories we have for today. See you tomorrow.